Up next.
A very good evening to you, tuned into UBC TV. We thank you so much for following all our programs and welcome to UBC News tonight, this 20th of June 2024. My name is Micheal Lukomwa and we'll go straight to what we have for you tonight. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has directed people who stay and operate in wetlands to vacate peacefully. The president made the remarks today while officiating at the 3rd Annual Sustainable Development Goals Conference and dissemination of the Local Government Management of Service Delivery Report and Parish Development Model Implementation held at Speak Resort in Munyonyo. The two-day conference was attended by resident district city commissioners, district chairpersons, city and municipal mayors, government officials, development partners, private sector players, among others. It ran under the theme, Strengthening Localization and Service Delivery Mechanisms for National Development and SDG Acceleration and Transformation. According to President Museveni, the only few people in wetlands whom he offered to help are those in Busoga, Bukedi and Kigezi, who were misled by the colonial and some independence governments to go into the swamps. On the other hand, the president urged that the much desired SDGs can only be achieved if societies undergo socio-economic transformation. The Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They also address the global challenges the world faces, including those related to poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace and justice. President Museveni, however, revealed that the socio-economic transformation can also be achieved if adults actively get involved in the 4 sectors of the economy, which include commercial agriculture, industry or manufacturing, services and ICT. Prime Minister Right Honorable Robin Anabanja said that this year's conference is focusing on Uganda's 3rd Voluntary National Review Report that will be presented at the High-Level Political Forum in New York in July 2024. The United Nations Resident Coordinator in Uganda, Susan Namondo, congratulated Uganda over its achievements as far as the development journey is concerned.
Those SDGs, without socio-economic transformation, society must change so that you are able to get those SDGs sustainably. Because this debate is not new. In the 1960s, all these programs were there. Maybe they were not using those very words, but all these efforts were there to help education, to help this health. But if you audit carefully, the countries which did not focus clearly on ideology and strategy up to now are struggling. So if you do that, if you create jobs, money-making jobs, you make money-making jobs in agriculture, or you become, if you become either an employer or an employee, would you be nearer to achieving the SDGs or further away? You should answer that question.
First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has expressed appreciation for the missionary evangelist Daniel Kolenda and his team from the Christ for All Nations Ministry for blessing Uganda with their gospel crusades as they celebrate 50 years of ministry. The First Lady met a delegation at State House, Nakasero.
The delegation, led by Christ for All Nations President and CEO Evangelist Daniel Kolenda, included Brett Speck, the Executive Director, Brandy Liet, the Senior Director, Lydia Kolenda's 12-year-old daughter, Rob Eng, his personal assistant, and Pastor Kalaji, the coordinator for Christ for All Nations Ministry in Uganda. The team has been in Uganda conducting gospel crusades in different areas around the country and training hundreds of believers on how to become soul winners since the 12th of June.
Thank you so much that you thought of coming to Uganda on your 50 years celebrations, and you gave us so much time to stop different places and give God's messages to our people. You're a blessing to us. We bless you while you are here. We will pray while you're still here that God will bless your travel inside Uganda and bless your message to our people.
Over the past 2 weeks, 7 major crusades have been held in Lira, Gulu, Hoima, Mbare, Tororo, Busia, Iganga, Kampala, and other locations where the mighty hand of the Lord has been witnessed at work. Mrs. Museveni said that she believes the message and blessing from God being shared with Ugandans in the gospel crusades around the corner comes at the right time.
Praying, we are preparing for our own coming elections in 2 years. So having you here for this time, for me, I believe it's a message from God.
Evangelist Kolenda, the successor of the world-renowned evangelist Reinhard Bonnke, said that Uganda holds a very special place in their hearts and that they love Uganda and its people very much.
On the last night of each campaign, we pray very specially for the blessing of the nation and for you and for your whole team by name in front of everyone, and they all resound with a mighty amen as we pray for God's blessings. I believe the Lord hears those prayers. I believe that He will answer those prayers and is already answering those prayers. So consider us friends, consider us family, wherever we go from this day forward.
Christ for All Nations Ministry plans to conduct 50 crusades in African countries, including South Africa, Congo, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Egypt, and Uganda, among others. And of these, Uganda takes the lion's share. Reporting for UBC, Baguma William.
There are allegations that commissioners of parliament are being targeted for impeachment in a motion where signatures are being collected at parliament have intensified efforts to sabotage the exercise at the lobby. One of them allegedly went and directed the sergeant at arms to remove the table and chair that were being used by the movers of the motion and seconders. This did not go well with the mover, Theodore Sechkubo MP for Remiaga, who strived to have his office at the lobby back and intact.
This is how the space that had been designated to conduct the exercise of collecting signatures to impeach 4 backbench parliamentary commissioners at the lobby of Parliament looked like Thursday morning. Some members of Parliament who seconded the motion were surprised to find it empty, as if the exercise has been closed. The mover of the motion, Theodore Sechkubo, on arrival started calling the sergeant at arms to return the tables and chairs in place in vain. He said, "This is another move to sabotage the motion."
Away the signatures. At one point they said the motion is up for sale at 2 billion. I don't know how far that transaction has moved. The other day they produced a list that the movers are wanted at Kibuli. And now the worst is that the table has been moved. The others you could ignore because that is propaganda. But once you remove the table, who has told the sergeant at arms that we are done, that we don't need the desk anymore?
Member of Parliament Asumani Basalirwa did not have kind words to Sechkubo in this situation, but advised him to use his office to collect the signatures.
I think we should get signatures from the plenary or from people's homes. People should come here. And as you can see, I am calling the sergeant at arms, he's not picking.
The rules don't say that signatures are sought or collected at Parliament or within parliamentary precincts. You can get signatures anywhere. In any case, all MPs here have offices. So if anybody wants signatures, they could actually use their offices without even necessarily, using the lobby.
Voted in imperfection. But I believe if people wanted to sign, they can find them anywhere. I don't think anyone has evicted them from where they were operating, where they had become receptionists.
These are just playing with us. We are going to put back our table and they are bringing it.
Yes. Although he hijacked shares from the office of the sergeant at arms, these were dragged back by a cleaner who clashed with Sechkubo. This forced him to call the Speaker of Parliament to intervene, and everything was brought back and the exercise resumed for the day after an hour of struggling.
The table is not here. From the sergeant at arms. At first he was saying, from high authorities. Then later that Sirwanyi is the one who directed. And Sirwanyi is one of the accused. How can he determine when we want the signatures or not? For you to try to pull our legs by taking away the chairs, we can choose to block the entrance to this parliament if they don't bring back the chairs.
They know that really this money which we are talking about and other things were passed genuinely by this parliament. Why all this manipulation and trying to frustrate the processes? If you have clear answers, why are you panicking?
I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Guitabenji at Parliament.
CID detectives have raided the home of embattled Igara MP Micheal Mawanda, implicated in the plunder and misappropriation of 164 billion shillings budget allocation earmarked for the compensation of cooperative beneficiaries who lost their funds in Uganda's post-independence civil wars when government opted for the liberalization of the economy and closed down the cooperative bank, which led to the due losses arising from the 1979 to 2006 wars. Mawanda is suspected to have misappropriated 14 billion shillings compensation to beneficiaries of the defunct East Mengo Growers Cooperative Union Limited through MS Justin Mungoma Company Advocates that held the transactions of the union on behalf of their client, with some officials from the Ministry of Finance and Trade yet to be cross-examined. The MP Mawanda was investigated at the CID headquarters in Chibuli on Wednesday before he was handcuffed and flogged to Natete police station, where he spent the night before he was picked out of the cells by the detectives to lead a search at his residence in Lower Kololo Terrace. Our reporter Abdul Nasir Lukomwa trailed the operatives from Natete police station to Kololo Terrace and filed this report.
Following the presidential directive to have all legislators and top government officials from the line ministries of finance and trade that were involved in the misappropriation of 164 billion shillings, that budget was allocated for the compensation of beneficiaries who lost their monies in cooperative unions in the post-independent civil wars that engulfed the country between 1979 and 2006. Before the government liberalized the economy and closed the Cooperative Bank of Uganda that led to the due losses. On the hook of most wanted legislators involved in the racket was Igara East MP Micheal Mawanda, who interim CID police investigations places him at the center of plundering and misappropriating over 14 billion shillings that had been allocated as compensation for farmers in East Mango Growers Cooperative Union Limited, having been cross-examined for over 7 hours on Wednesday at the CID headquarters in Kibuli. MP Micheal Mawanda was handcuffed and flogged to Natete police station aboard a blue drone police van where he spent a night. Thursday morning, MP Mawanda was picked from the Natete police cells to lead CID detectives to his residence situated at Lower Kolo Terrace for suspected exhibits to help detectives in their investigations. Mawanda's legal team, headed by counsel Brian Rubihayo, who expressed concerns to detectives of informing them on short notes about the operation search raid of the residence of their client. They reiterated the following on record last evening at Kivuli CID headquarters.
But we were not informed. We actually learned it from other sources that they are searching the home. It would have been proper, the legal counsel to be present from the start. The informer said we are around. Yeah.
Rubihayo says they pleaded for police bond based on the medical condition of their client, Micheal Mawanda, but police declined.
We are waiting for the police to take a decision whether to charge him or not, but we pray that they charge him because we are ready. We know that there is nothing. Yes.
Detectives searched the residence of MP Mawanda in Local Terrace for over 5 hours, and they moved out with a briefcase and other bags containing what seemed to be evidence. After the search, operatives put the legislator into the police van and drove him back to Natete police station, pending instructions to produce him to the anti-corruption court to answer for preferred charges against him. Currently, there are 2 legislators on fresh charges of mismanagement of the 164 billion shillings meant for the compensation of cooperative societies. One being Igara East MP Micheal Mawanda and the Elgon County legislator Ignatius Modimi wa Makayu, who is currently detained at Kira Division Police. The arrest of MP Mawanda and MP Modimi brings the number of MPs in prison to 5 over mismanaging the public resources. Abdunasiri Lukomwa and Rogers Komagum for UBC.
We'll keep you posted to every development that come up with that particular story. Shadow Minister for Water and Environment, Christine Kaya Nachimwero, has condemned the action by National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, to evict people whose land rights are not ascertained. While addressing the media at Parliament, Nachimwero said that evicting these people who bought the land before putting in place the policy on wetlands of 1995 was not right.
National Environment Management Authority early this week moved in action and evicted a big number of people who had constructed houses and staying on Rubiji wetland in Nansana. The Shadow Minister of Water and Environment and also on the Environment and Natural Resources Committee of Parliament, Christine Kaya Nachimwero, said they had resolved to cancel all land titles offered on wetlands and now surprised to see that NEMA went ahead to evict people whose land rights are not ascertained. She emphasizes that they have always advocated for human rights approaches in managing ecosystems.
If somebody has stayed in a place for over 60 years, why can't we reduce on the establishment of disasters? Let's at least stay with the disasters caused naturally, but humans causing a disaster of removing people, of making people landless, homeless. We don't believe at the moment when the country is as poor as this, we can accommodate more human-induced disasters.
She also expressed her disappointment over the selective law implementation on land use, on wetlands and selective enforcement in terms of investment.
Selective implementation in line with investments, as if residential houses should leave and then other investments should remain based on the capital which is also selective in nature, but when we are to look at the destruction put on our wetlands, actually investors, high capital investments, pollute the environment more.
Member of Parliament Nakaseke Central, Alan Mayanja Sebunya, says instead of evicting people, government should have arrested officials of NEMA who slept on job.
Authorities, those entities are given a lot of funds to supervise and do their responsibilities. You find someone bought a land from Rubiji or elsewhere. It could be a wetland. By these officials, you are sleeping on their job to guide these people when they are buying land.
He expressed dismay over evicting people and not compensating them, citing an incident where people were evicted from Lakeshore land but compensated from the land fund.
Land fund is given a lot of money, which funds which are supposed to be used in case of whereby these people have to be reallocated. When you look at, can't say that NEMA you issue out a notice of 21 days that people should leave. People should be given at least 2 to 3 years so that they can prepare, so that they can reorganize themselves.
These members of the opposition in Parliament say in their alternative statement on environment, they recommended for demarcations to show gazetted land, the need to put in place an environment fund, and also look at the impact assessment of activities on wetlands. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetabinji at Parliament.
Minister for Internal Affairs, Kahinda Utafire, has emphasized the importance of stronger partnerships between government and non-government organizations, community-based organizations, and local governments. The message was delivered during the last quarterly dialogue of 2024 held in Kampala.
Dialogues foster a sustainable relationship between NGOs and the government, creating a conducive environment for their operations.
A number of issues are always identified, they are raised and addressed. And that is why today we decided to focus on community-based organizations, because this was a concern that came up in these meetings.
My dear collaborators in the NGO, CBO world, we are rationalizing what belongs to government. We are not rationalizing yours. Yours, because we don't know whether yours is rational or irrational, it's up to you to manage. For us, we are rationalizing what is our sector. I thank the CBOs and the NGOs for supplementing government efforts.
David Mugisha, speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to fostering strong NGO partnerships and implementing an effective monitoring committee.
To encourage us to create a structured way of monitoring and reporting our performance, both state and non-state actors within the National Development Plan framework.
Deputy Head of Cooperation at the Embassy of Ireland in Uganda, Diarmuid Macklin, emphasized that community-based organizations are vital partners in achieving Uganda's sustainable goals. He highlighted their role in amplifying government efforts and driving progress.
Community-based organizations are being given recognition in this space. So, because they do what others cannot do, as previous speakers have said. And they do stuff that governments can't do.
Stephen Okello, Executive Director at the NGO Bureau, stressed the need for a unified register for community-based organizations to address registration challenges.
We have realized from our engagements that there is no harmonized register for CBOs operating out there. And this means that much as the NGO Regulations 2017 provides a template of what what kind of register they're supposed to have and requires them to have. If you go to every district around this country, every district has designed its own register. And that's why one of the events today, Honorable Minister, is to launch a subsidized, a standardized register for all the CBOs in this country.
CBO leaders share some of the challenges they encounter in their operations.
The challenge that the CBOs face is the operationalization of these committees that we talked about.
In the digital sector, we need the sensitization that it talks about should also be deliberately taken to the government leaders, especially to the local governments.
This quarterly dialogue meeting between NGO, CBO leaders and the Ministry of Internal Affairs was held under the theme Enhancing a Sustainable Relationship between Government and Civil Society Sector in Uganda through dialogue. Brian Tumwinebiaruhanga, Charity Nahabwe, UBC News.
It's not enough.
Minister for ICT and National Guidance Chris Baryomonsi has emphasized the importance of proper social media use for social and economic development. The minister also revealed that government is working towards introducing a digital tool to help track the source of senders of misinformation.
The government is developing a digital transformation tool to counter misinformation and cybercrime, according to Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance.
To engage technology that will help us filter what comes out through social media, and we shall be disallowing some of these offensive posts or posts which are not for development.
This initiative will enable government to track the origin source of information.
But if you misuse your communication through IT, through a computer, a phone, there are offenses which are already created by law, and we are going to strengthen that law. But also, we are building capacity within the country in terms of personnel, but also technologies, to be able to protect Ugandans in the area of cyber security and cyber crimes.
During the 14th Communications Consumer Parliament held in Kabale, service providers and stakeholders in telecommunications and media shared their insights on challenges ranging from fraud to high data costs.
Expensive. That's the challenge we face. And also the network, sometimes it breaks off. When I'm negotiating with my customer, I find that the network has gone.
Yeah, because it has affected us because it has changed the perception of our consumers. Our consumers actually believe that we are part of our workers are actually working with these criminals out there. So it is quite a challenge for us to clear this perception from our consumers.
There, on the issue of cybercrime, still a lot of work to be done there. On the issue of digital literacy, it's still a lot of work to be done. On the issue of infrastructure, masts and so on, so that we have strong network, there's still a lot of work to be done. So,
Uganda Communications Commission Executive Director Nyombi Tembo highlighted on some of the policies set by government to counter cybercrime and appeal to the general public to stay vigilant against fraudsters.
Fleecing doesn't always happen on websites or on these bookings. Fleecing happens on people who misrepresent themselves in the digital space. We believe them without knowing them in the physical space, and they fleece us. Never deal with anybody who talk with you on phone, presenting themselves as XYZ without having known them in the physical space. Simple and clear.
The Communications Consumer Parliament is an annual meeting that brings together different stakeholders to forge ways to promote impactful ICTs. Sada Mubale, UBC News.
The Uganda Civil Aviation Authority has embarked on a campaign to sensitize communities around the airport on proper waste disposal. The initiative aims at mitigating the risk of birds being attracted to waste, which can lead to collisions with aircraft and cause significant damage to engines, potentially resulting into disastrous accidents.
Various bird species are drawn to different landing sites, particularly where waste is disposed of by fishermen. These birds multiply in large numbers, posing a significant challenge to the airport. The Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, through its Bird Hazard and Wildlife Management Program, has begun educating community members near the airport on effective waste management practices to reduce bird attraction.
You, the community, you go to the lake, you fish, you get the fish. When you get the fish, it is our culture. We don't eat the intestine, so we remove the intestine. When we remove the intestines, we throw them on the somewhere on the side. Now, when we throw them, what happens? Also, the insects come and eat. Also, the birds come and eat.
Engineer Ayub Soma, Director of Airport and Airport Security, cautioned residents about the dangers posed by water pods, which can also contribute to aircraft accidents.
And we cannot avoid the water ponds because we are a peninsula. We cannot say that we can have a gravel place which doesn't have them. We will always have rain, so they will always be there. Now, as a community at Entebbe, what should we do? So we want you to tell us, how can we manage some of these, like those swallows? How do we manage them in order to be able to make Entebbe International Airport a safe place?
Meanwhile, the residents have expressed their commitment to working with the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority.
Era twaleetawo program ffe gye twatumye nti weeyonje. Program eno eya weeyonje egenda kukavalinga ebintu bingi nga n'omulamu ogutuleese wano mweguli. Ekisooka nga tuvudde ku b'obutale neno mu homesteads nayo gye twogeddeko nabo bagula ebyennyanja balina n'activities ze bakola ng'era za attracting ebinyonyi naki n'ebiwuka on individual basis.
Managing bird hazards is critical to avoid incidents like the one involving Turkish Airlines in October 2023, where birds struck an aircraft during takeoff.
The Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC, is wholly owned by the Government of Uganda and was established to safeguard and promote Uganda's commercial interests in the petroleum sector. UNOC has two subsidiaries, the Uganda Refinery Holding Company URHC, which will hold a 40% stake in the 60,000 barrel per day refinery and manage the development of Kabalega Industrial Park, and the National Pipeline Company Limited, NPC, in charge of pipelines, storage, and downstream business ventures. This subsidiary holds 15% interest in the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, ECOP. ECOP is a 1,445-kilometer long pipeline that will transport crude oil through 10 districts in Uganda to the port of Tanga in Tanzania. UNOC is also actively engaged in crude oil exploration, development, and production activities, and its participation role includes a 15% stake in the Tilenga, Nwoya, and Bulisa, and Kingfisher development projects, Chikure. UNOC also holds the exploration license for Kasuruban Block in Hoima, Bulisa, and Masindi. UNOC currently owns and manages the Ginger Storage Terminal and will build a 320 million litre capacity terminal in MPG called the Kampala Storage Terminal. At UNOC, we're harnessing the potential of Uganda's petroleum resources, forging a sustainable future and preserving the natural beauty of Uganda. UNOC, your partner in Uganda's oil and gas industry.
Amanya gange nze Namtebi Sharon nga nkolera wano wennyini Saka Kirombe oba Makindye. Empangula gye nawanguddemu ssente mbadde nga nkozesa mobile money nga nsindika school fees w'omwana ku ssomero. Okutegeera nti mpangudde, nze mutima neegambye nti kambalinde bamale okujja ndyoke nzikirize nti mpangudde. Kyennyinza okubagamba nti si byabafere, weewaawo abafere gye bali, naye enamba eri emu yokka era bw'eba ekukubidde omanye eyo si y'abafere. Mpulira bulungi nnyo 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 era ndi musanyufu nnyo. Naye MTN mobile money mbebaza nnyo mwebale nnyo mwebalire.
Together we're unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with baby Junior jelly.
Though dried their targets and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa love baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior's the skin. No more worries anymore. Boo, 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 boo. Baby Junior.
Baby Junior.
What is a dream? What does it mean to you? To her? To them? It's time we dare to dream anew. Dream bigger, better, bolder. Let's dare to dream of tomorrow, today, of someday, of the hope that comes with change, of a change that transforms lives. That glimmer in your eyes, the prospect of maybe, of all the hopes that we carry. It's the promise of enjoyments, co-enjoyments for you and your mates. A dream keeps us going. It's the one thing that drives us, inspires us, motivates us. One goal, one hope, one dream. With the Uganda National Lottery, your dream can become a reality. Bigger is here. What's your one thing?
Thank you so much for watching and welcome back from the break. It's UBC News Tonight. The Uganda National Examinations Board, that's UNEB, has finalized registration for candidates going to sit for the new curriculum transition examinations. The Principal Public Relations Officer UNEB, Jennifer Karule Samba, says that UNEB is in the final preparations for the forthcoming competence-based assessment examinations.
As Uganda transitions from the old curriculum to a new framework for the lower secondary school level, UNEB is implementing transitional examinations to assess learners' abilities. Jennifer Karule Musamba, Principal Public Relations Officer at UNEB, emphasized that this new approach offers an opportunity to address the challenges faced by students in the education system.
In 2020, the ministry did roll out the new curriculum, and now 4 years down the road, it is time for UNEB to assess these learners under the new curriculum. But we recognize as a board that we can't just transit from one system to another system. That is why we had to set up a set of examinations for what we call the transitional examination. Transitional because it's helping us transit from the old curriculum to the new curriculum. So we recognize that there are candidates who would want to sit examinations in the old system, in the old curriculum. This is a one-off. We are giving an opportunity to people who may have failed to sit examinations last year, 2023, for some reason or the other.
This opportunity gives a chance to those challenged in education, said Musamba. She highlighted that no student will be allowed to sit for UNEB examinations without first undergoing a competence assessment, ensuring that all candidates meet the required standards.
Component. Every learner must have a project, and we are asking them to get us their best done project. We are assuming they have been doing projects all along. So they are going to get us their best done project and submit those scores. And then they will give us scores for continuous assessment for this second term. So in other words, what we are asking, we are going to use the parameters that have been provided by the CA tool to monitor, to assess the learners for this term. You will submit using the tool which has been availed, and we shall be able to get the scores, and it will be 20%, and then the final end of cycle will be 80%. However, a learner who will not have scores for continuous assessment is not going to be graded by UNEB.
The new system does not accommodate new entrants because there has been several continuous assessments being followed. However, registration is still ongoing.
And the new curriculum does not accommodate somebody joining the education system. Like, you just cannot come and sit for the examination. You have to start from senior 1. Reason being, there is a big component of continuous assessment whereby the teachers have got to be assessing you right from senior 1 to senior 4.
The new curriculum aims at equipping students with necessary skills and knowledge to excel in their academic and professional pursuits. Irene Faith Nantongo, Mary Namokosi, UBC News.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has this evening presided over a signing of a memorandum of understanding between the government of Uganda and Sabotage Chamber of Commerce and Industry at Speak Resort, Munyonyo. The memorandum was signed between the government of Uganda through Ministry of Works and Transport and Civil Aviation Authority, Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, and the Uganda Wildlife Authority and Sabotage Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In the memorandum, Sabotage Chamber of Commerce has agreed to construct Kidepo International Airport near Kidepo National Park and construct tourist hotels within Kidepo National Park to boost the tourism sector and the economy of Uganda. President Museveni welcomed the signing of the memorandum of understanding between the two entities and wished them well.
You know, in the past, we worked more with North Africa, with Egypt, with Libya, with a little bit with Algeria, a little bit. We didn't work much with the Gulf. I think I went to the Gulf first time
2016 or so.
Yes. I was taken by one of my friends, the minister from UAE. There's a minister from, I think, Abu Dhabi or something, the Gulf. So I'm very happy. This is just the beginning. Okay, shukran. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Your Excellency, because this is, we start, all visibility study almost now 10 months. And we are now in real, because after the signing the MOU today, the contractor will start his work. And within short time, will be a good international airport in this region, and this is going to help the community in general.
Thanks.
First of all, I want to convey the regard from Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan Al-Qasimi, ruler of Sharjah. Especially, he say, make salam, give salam to the president.
Salam.
Alaikum salam. And he's following the project, and we are doing quite good. Your Excellency, at the beginning, we finished the design, and also the building, runway. We chose the right land, and we are in good progress now. Today we're going to show you.
His Excellency the President meeting the Sabotage delegation. State Minister for Higher Education Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo has applauded the cordial relationship between Uganda and the European Union, which has earned Ugandan students invaluable opportunities to upgrade their studies at some of the most prestigious universities in Europe through the Erasmus Plus program. Muyingo flagged off these students on behalf of the Minister for Education, Mrs. Janet Museveni.
The Erasmus Plus program is a European Union student exchange program which supports education and training to students in European countries. While disbursing of 17 beneficiaries of this program, State Minister for Higher Education Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo says this opportunity strategically positions students to be competitive in the global job market.
This support has helped in the human capital development of our country so much, and we are really grateful. The European Union and Uganda enjoy cordial bilateral relations. The celebration for scholarships that we are having today is a clear testimony of the strong bilateral cooperation that exists between Uganda and the European Union.
Beneficiaries have been cautioned to manifest good character traits in the countries where they will be representing Uganda. They were also told to use this opportunity as a tool to contribute to development back home.
But after getting this opportunity, don't forget, remember to always be Uganda's ambassador wherever you go for your studies. Carry the country's flag very high. Always be ready to learn more about all.
We eagerly await stories of your adventures, and when you complete the program, I trust you will return better equipped to contribute to Uganda's development, in line with what we heard here from George and Ted.
The ambassador of the European Union to Uganda, His Excellency Jan Sadek, said the EU will continue funding the education sector in Uganda, focusing on innovation to prepare the youth for the competitive job markets.
The EU also supports continental integration, providing learning opportunities within Africa to leverage investment in knowledge and innovation. These efforts aim to enhance the relevance of African higher education to labor market needs. But of course, we as Team Europe, the European Union and its member states, we're also supporting education and skills development here in Uganda. And let me just mention that in partnership with Belgium and Germany and the United Nations, we have launched a 112 million euro program to promote education for adolescent girls in 200 schools to reduce gender-based violence and promote sexual and reproductive health and rights.
Former beneficiaries of this program thanked the EU for the opportunity and mentioned how they were impacting the country.
I didn't know that I would one day go to Geneva, work there, go to Rwanda, attend an innovation hub, come back, do work with people from Rwanda, from USA, from Angola, from Ethiopia. It's something that the Erasmus broadens for you.
Currently, when I came back, I'm using the knowledge that I learned. I'm currently working with one of my professors. We are looking at upcycling food waste in Kampala and the metropolitan area into alternative proteins. And some of the technologies and methodologies I learned are the ones that we are using, things like green chemistry.
Mary Namkose, UBC News.
We thank you so much for watching. Let's enjoy another short break. We have more in return.
And with 23 Global Gold Awards, a beer unmatched in gold.
We thank you so much for watching and welcome back from the break. Over 3,900 illegal gaming machines are being destroyed as part of government's efforts to curb illegal gaming activities in the country. According to Aloysius Mugasa Adieri, the board chairperson of the National Lottery and Gaming Regulatory Board, the machines were confiscated from the illegal gaming operators across the country early this year.
Section 4 of the Lotteries and Gaming Act of 2016 mandates the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board to issue licenses for lotteries, casinos, gaming and betting companies in Uganda. The Act also clothes the board with powers to confiscate illegal sports betting and gaming machines, destroy them and arrest operators. According to Dennis Modene Ngabirano, the Chief Executive Officer of National Lottery and Gaming Regulatory Board, over 3,900 illegal gaming machines worth 4.2 billion shillings were confiscated in the last 2 financial years.
This is part of our responsible gaming activity because one, these gaming equipment get into the country illegally. We have undertaken intelligence-led operations, and we've been able to identify some of the suppliers.
Slot machines, also known as coin machines, have gained popularity as a kind of gambling due to their easy accessibility.
The challenges we face is that people import spare parts into this country. They say they are for computers or other equipment. They end up assembling illegal gaming machines and fleecing our people of money because these are not regulated, they are not of good standard, and they are cheating our people instead of benefiting them.
And the most disturbing is that they supply these gaming machines to individuals, to even individuals that have these retail shops that are selling sugar, salt, to run these gaming machines.
The illegal gaming machines were handed to the National E-Waste Management Facility, which is managed by the National Enterprise Corporation, the designated National E-Waste Collector, with oversight, regulation and coordination by the National Environmental Management Authority.
As a National E-Waste Management Center, we receive all equipment that are classified as e-waste, that is electrical and electronic waste. And these items are part of that category.
According to the World Lottery Association, the cost of illegal betting on sports is estimated to be between $350 billion and $1.7 trillion. Nahoho Rashid Madelele, UBC TV.
The informal economy is grappling with challenges that include unfair laws. This has prompted members of informal sector unions from Central and South Africa to convene in Kampala to deliberate on the same issues.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
The higher you build your barriers, the taller I become. The faster you take my rights away, the faster I will run. This is the spirit that we need to maintain. As I raise the barriers to segregate us, even though we are a majority, we should grow taller.
That is the president of StreetNet International, Lorraine Sibanda, awakening the workers in the informal economy to fight for their rights.
Unfortunately, these workers lack recognition, legal recognition, accordingly social protection recognition. They are not covered by any labor code in their countries. They are not recognized by the national as well as local government. Despite the fact they contribute enormously to the national and local economies of their countries.
We demand the government to fully recognize us as other workers because we are contributing a lot to the economy of Uganda and the GDP. And when we also look at SDGs that we are targeting, number 1 and number 2, which is end hunger and poverty.
If you see workers going to bed with the government, something is really, really wrong. Because as far as we know, we have a high informality, and yet the workers in the informal economy are ignored.
The informal sector is believed to be 85% of Uganda's workforce, contributing between 50 to 51% of the country's gross domestic product. Despite the great contribution to the growth and development of GDP, workers in the informal sector are challenged with lack of recognition by laws and policies, double taxation, and the lack of social protection, among others.
First of all, the reason why we are here, we were focusing on the biggest challenge, which we feel that if it is solved, it can at least cover multiple of our challenges, which is social protection scheme.
A cross-section of unionists affiliated to the StreetNet International is in Kampala to deliberate on the sector and to better the policies to improve the working environment of the informal economy workers.
However, our advocacy work, our capacity building work from StreetNet International is moving forward. We are moving slowly with wins. However, we need always to reflect. Because there is no model to trace for us, we need to create a lot of approaches.
The president of the workers in the Informal Economy Network in Uganda, Jessica Mwijuka, says the greatest challenge is the lack of social protection to the sector.
We also request NSSF, National Social Security Fund, to engage WIENO in its program and discussions and consultations.
The StreetNet International President Lorraine Sibanda, who also the president of Zimbabwe Chamber of Informal Economy Association, is concerned about the delay by many nations to ratify to ILO conventions on workers in the informal economy. Meanwhile,
some of the standards and policies that we as StreetNet are using to push for the respect of the rights of the informal economy workers are the ILO standards, which include the transitioning of the informal economy to formality. This was crafted in 2015 by the International Labour Conference of 2015, and it sets out the conditions which member states should adhere to.
Caring Hearts Schools Premier League has entered another match day with action taking place at the school's main ground in Kakiri-Wakiso district.
The Caring Hearts Schools Premier League has witnessed another exciting match day that was watched by a plethora of former footballers. This game was particularly intriguing as Manchester City faced Arsenal in an epic tie that ended 3-3. Manchester City took a 2-0 halftime lead courtesy of goals by Anthony Komagom, but saw their lead cancelled early in the second half.
So we lost possession and even we miscommunicated in the back. That's why we started conceding, and finally we even ended up conceding a penalty, which has been a very bad day to us because we are known of passing and possessing the ball till we win, until the last minute of the game.
The game remained delicately balanced until Morgan Arenaitwe thought he had won it for Manchester City, only for a last-minute Marvin Kavuma penalty to rescue a point for Arsenal.
My players were lazy and they didn't manage to do it in first half. So in second half we had finished to check ourselves, to see our problems, and we solved them. We brought the substitutes, they changed the game, so the game was good.
The game was watched by former footballers including Edrisa Nyombi, Simon Omba, Jamil Kasiri, Godfrey Mukasa and Obadia Semakula, who offered counsel to the youngsters.
The English say experience is the best teacher. So let me tell you something. Even Fufa needs these guys. These guys played football and they were the experienced players, good players we have ever had in this nation. So I cannot do anything or plan anything with football and I don't call upon them because they have so much to to tell us. They have so much experience. They know the game more than anybody else. So even if they speak 1 or 3 words, that is enough. So they are here to advise the young players, give them the basics of the game.
Liverpool is atop the standings with 4 points. Chelsea and Aston Villa have 3. Manchester City has 2. Arsenal has 1 and Manchester United has 0. Action next week will see Aston Villa against Manchester United and Chelsea versus Liverpool.
That brings us to the end of all we had for you at this particular moment. We'll have another arrangement at 10 p.m. Please do not miss. Micheal Lukomwa is my name. Catch you then. Bye-bye.